And again, thank you for everybody participating in our social media contest. Again, a takeaway with 15 words or more, including the hashtag ReadySetMimioSTEM, and then tagging us on either Instagram or Twitter by just searching Boxlight, and you can find that. And then Kim saying, really like the 3D printed waves. Very cool. Don't forget, we're picking 3 winners next week. 3 winners get to choose from these 6 prizes. And then there will be 1 grand prize winner that will get to choose between either the Robo E3 printer or the Lyric portable sound system to bring the audio solutions into your classroom. All right, we have 2 more sessions coming up. We have Aislinn talking about implementing drones into your class. So if you want to check out drones, that will be 1 session. And then Carlene will also be talking to us about literacy and STEM synergizing through novel engineering. So 2 more amazing sessions coming up.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Aislinn. I'm going to be the one presenting today on how to implement drones into the classroom. All right, so I am the support and training engineer here at Robolink, and as mentioned, today we're going to discuss how drones can integrate STEM into your classroom. So first off, the main question is why are drones valuable inside of the classroom? And actually, let me see. I don't even think my camera is currently on. Is it?
Not just yet.
Okay, so sorry about that. I don't know why I'm having a hard time. Exit full screen? No.
It's probably in Zoom. Do you have a start video button at the bottom?
I do, and I try to pull up my Zoom screen, and it just says I'm in my sharing meeting, and I can't even find where it's sharing to. So I'm currently confused as to where it's pulling it from, since I can't find exactly how it's it just started sharing a screen and it completely pulled my Zoom away. So I'm not too sure how that's happening. And I greatly apologize for this.
Unless you're showing something on the screen, I think it's fine. You can
Okay.
just go through.
Yeah, all right, let's go. Okay, we'll continue through that. But anyways, so why drones are available or why drones are valuable in the classroom. So the reason that we say why drones is because with drones, students gain a hands-on experience with cutting-edge technology. They build their confidence in using and understanding advanced tools and equipment. And it does introduce and prepare students for career paths in drone technology or something along the sense of remote sensing, for data analysis, and a lot more things along those lines. There is also the multidisciplinary learning. So drones can be integrated across various subject areas, and it allows for interdisciplinary connections. Students can explore concepts in physics and geography, environmental science, coding specifically, and even more than that. So with hands-on learning, they drones themselves offer a very hands-on approach to education. They provide students with experiences that allow them to grasp complex concepts, as before mentioned, such as physics, engineering, mathematics, and all through practical applications. They can learn to fly the drone manually, for example, which our drones are able to do. And you can also code them with Blockly, which is the scratch coding or block-based coding, or you can also use Python. But when it comes to flying the drone specifically, they learn how to work with hardware, and they learn the importance of maintenance and care, and they also learn how to kind of be problem solvers on the fly. So these are some of the images that we have from our aerial drone competition. The aerial drone competition is run by the Rec Foundation. It's kind of like Vex Robotics, except on this end, it's going to be with the drones themselves. And so through these drones, as you can see in the pictures, the students are actually trying to assist the pilot who can't see to where they're supposed to land, and they have to land in this blackout zone to earn points. The spotters, which are those students you can kind of see there, are actively engaging with guiding the pilot, and they can use various forms of communication, such as the hand signals that you can kind of see they're using their hand here, or they also do verbal communications or instructions to successfully complete this task. This challenge alone really helps a student develop and understand like what it means to have clear communication, how to adapt to hard situations. Like somehow if the drone got turned around and the pilot didn't know that, they now have to kind of express to them like exactly where they're facing. They really develop teamwork. They have to develop the nonverbal communication if someone's talking too loud, if they're just not able to like hear them across the floor. It also helps them develop listening skills, problem solving abilities, all of these, which are very real world scenarios that requiring like effective communication. So this is just the drones being there hands on as far as manually flying it. But there is also a coding aspect to it. So, learning to code drones introduces students to the world of programming. Python, as the leading language of drones, is something that students will then first like get their like hands on with. So, Python is the leading language of drones technology in the drone domain. They also do use other coding, such as like JavaScript and stuff like that. But Python is actually still the number one leading language. So it's not just a language that is used in classrooms, it's a versatile tool extensively employed in businesses for drone coding and various other applications. So the students can learn how to code their drones inside of Python, and it is a highly transferable skill set that aligns students with the demands of the job market to this day. The next thing too is the STEM integration. So drones seamlessly integrate into STEM education. They offer practical applications for scientific and mathematical principles, making learning more relatable and engaging. The ability to code drones with Python open doors to endless possibilities, from data analysis to automation in STEM related fields. There is also the base of Python there. Like we have our own drone library that they would code through in order to create some of that. You should kind of can see here at the bottom where it says like from codrone edu import drone equals drone.pair, drone.takeoff. That is going to be the Robolink library that the students utilize in order to code the drones. However, there is also just the basic aspect of the Python itself, such as having the math integration there. So with normal math, without using our library, you can set variables and you can set conditions, and you can say like, oh, if x is equal to this and y is equal to this, like if it's random, doing a random number, set a conditional to meet this meant. Or we can have here is like, you can have our autonomous flight patterns use mathematical calculations in order to use the geometry and make the drone fly in the shape of that geometry. All of that here is definitely going to be applicable to real world situations. And again, they're also using the Python integration. So they will learn the very basics, if not more, of how to integrate Python into what they have already been learning. Then there is also the real world relevance. So educational drones bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and real-world applications. They mirror the technology used across various industries, offering students a glimpse into how STEM skills are applied in real-life scenarios. So our drones are indoor drones only. They are only meant to be used indoors. They're just not big enough, such as these drones that you see here. But I think everyone, especially students to this day, are aware that drones are used outside and that they do serve as a purpose. I'm sure that they've seen a couple drones. I think last New Year's, a lot of drones have been used in light shows instead of the fireworks. So drones are very well known when it comes to seeing them there. And so these are just some examples of how drones are being utilized today in our world. So we have like drones studying volcanoes. We have drones helping with everyday tasks such as the deliveries for Amazon or even for farming. They do have drones that drop out farming and stuff like that. We do also have drones for safety rescue missions. Kind of the one that's most popular with students to this day is that they kind of know like the military uses drones or they use UAVs, a lot bigger than these ones here, but they are used in search and surveillance too. So the reason that we bring these up is because that we're trying to connect again the bridge between theoretical knowledge and real world applications. So what we want to do is we're trying to show like how these drones connect to real-world experiences. And so what we see is that inside of real-world experiences, so we talked about agriculture. So drones are widely employed in agriculture for tasks such as crop monitoring, soil analysis, and other stuff as such. Students can appreciate how their knowledge of drone technology can contribute to addressing global food security, sustainable farming practices. You could turn it into fun little challenges for them. So this is how we have used our product in order to connect it to like agriculture. So this is a scenario that we like to set up inside of our classroom, or that we have teachers who would like to try and set up, is that drones can have an activity where they are going to simulate a flight path, and they're going to have something labeled like water, fertilizer, and they have to check for pests. Using our LEDs, you can indicate the current drone status, and using the sensors, you can optimize the flight path to its efficiency. So what we can do is we can kind of like imagine in our classroom that like the water's over here, the fertilizer's over there, and we need to check pest control in certain areas of the classroom, and we need to maneuver the drone throughout the classroom without hitting anything in order to detect what it is. And that's going to be one way that the students can bridge the gap between the two as far as agriculture. The next one is what we mentioned was environmental monitoring. So drones are instrumental in environmental research and conservation efforts. Students can use them to collect data on ecosystems, wildlife, climate change, and foster environmental awareness and a sense of responsibility. This again is another example of how we have introduced these into our classroom in order to show that environmental awareness. We created a biome layout inside of our classroom, and what we did is we had each of these little color cards simulate a biome that the students were going to fly in and do research with it. They used various sensors to collect the data on the drones, and they had to report back to base camp. So again, the students would go out, they would try to fly into these biomes, try to designate and to where they were going to land. We kind of made it a little fun, like these cards are kind of big, so we're like, okay, obviously you don't want to land in the volcano, you don't want to land in the water, you probably don't want to land on top of trees. You want to try to get as best as possible into the most precision of landing where it is clear. So that's just another trick for them to try and learn all about how it moves, and then they had to gather the research and then bring it back. And then there's also the search and rescue portion that we had as well. So it's probably the most commonly known one that we have in our world today is the search and rescue. So the application of drones in search and rescue missions highlight their potential in saving lives. Students can gain an understanding of how their skills can be utilized in crucial situations. So one of the activities that we have here is our drones and our controllers can emit sounds and lights. And so what we did is we had our students learn a little bit about Morse code. And the Morse code messages with the LEDs or with the controller buzzer sounds had to be made in order to communicate between the different people of like who they found or where they are, what kind of like problems they were running into. And they use these lights and sounds in order to help communicate between the two. So this is again where the students are going to build up that teamwork, build up that communication, learn how to problem solve. We put them into teams together, and they have to come up with a secret code. And then you have one pilot, they're going to fly to a mountain or wherever they're going to deem to go, and then the teammate needs to record their medical supplies that are needed in order to bring it back. So again, communication is very key when it comes to this. And then coding, all of this can be done coding-wise in either Blockly or Python. Or you could also do it in manual flight as well. But it is possible to do it in both of them. Yep. And then, of course, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to do that and put it into the chat. I'm still trying to get back to it, so I might not be able to see it completely, but I will try my best to get back to it.
I can just read the questions out in the chat to you if that's easier.
Oh, yes, please.
There is a question in the chat about how much a drone is.
Excuse me. Oh yeah, so we do have different types of drones. We have some for the younger ages and we have some for the older ages. The younger ages is going to be for the Co-Drone Mini. And we normally have that as an educational drone or as a introduction drone for it. And the Co-Drone Mini is going to be about $90, so $89.99. The Co-Drone EDU is going to be $214. And seems a little pricey, but to say there are 7 different sensors that are inside of this drone, and it does come with other parts in its kit, like it comes with extra batteries, extra propellers, and stuff like that in order for you to be able to code. The great thing too is that with we don't have pictures of the Co-Drone Mini, but the Co-Drone Mini again is for the younger ages. So if anyone is unable to either purchase this drone or if they kind of look for something more like introductory to drones, just getting into the classroom, especially if you want to use it for younger ages too, the Co-Drone Mini is going to be available and ready for purchase as well. It does do the same thing as far as how students can code in both Blockly and Python, as well as manually fly the Co-Drone Mini, same with the Co-Drone EDU. The only thing that's kind of the big difference between the Co-Drone Mini is that it has less sensors than the EDU. But still, everything can be applied STEM-wise to the Co-Drone Mini. It's still going to teach students how to communicate. It's still going to get them kind of thinking about real-world situations and how they can apply that to their best benefit as well, and kind of connect the dots between the two. All right, and then this is kind of like the last example for it, where we have the real-world experiences between the film and entertainment. A lot of drones are utilized in film to get those aerial shots. They use them for the cinematicness of it as well. So by learning about drones and coding with Python, students gain insights into the creative and professional opportunities available in this field. My favorite part about adding into this thing here where it says that it's about movies and everything like that, it really embraces students' creative side. So if they wanted to create a movie, if they wanted to like create a light show, if they wanted to do something with like sounds and do a dance and do a whole drone dance with it, that's definitely a very applicable. And as you can kind of see, a lot of the drones have becoming a lot more popular, where they're starting to do a lot of drone shows instead of the fireworks shows, or they're doing fireworks and a drone show too. And the students are able to complete all of that too. The great thing is that you can have multiple of these drones flying at one time in a room. So if you guys are all coordinated and you would like to coordinate a whole drone show, you could definitely do something like that. Again, the lights and sounds do change inside of the drone. So you can change the lights of the LED, you can change the sounds of the LED, you can have it play an entire musical for you if you want. I was just talking to a teacher the other day, and he was telling me that the students programmed the drones to do the Imperial March from Star Wars. So when the drones took off and slowly started coming towards you, they were playing the Star Wars theme from using the buzzer sounds that we have on side of our Blockly and all that stuff. So that was very fun and entertaining to see and watch. It was great fun, and I think the students had a really fun time putting in their own creative set too. So we always encourage teachers to kind of just like put your imagination out there. There's really anything you think you can do with these drones, definitely try it. One of the most common things that we see teachers do is build mazes, and I really like to have my own students, like the way I get them super engaged is they're already really excited to see these drones and fly these drones. These drones also do flip, so that is something that students get them engaged, but it is also true, like it's very safe. Like everything that we have about these drones, there's guards on it. You don't really need to worry about like crashes do happen, but that doesn't mean the drone is going to break really hard. So a lot of things can be done with these drones in order to get the students engaged. I find that they become very, very engaged, especially when they're the ones making the challenges. And I ask them like, okay, we're going to build a maze, like using the resources around you, try to make a maze, and we're going to try to fly through it first manually, and then we're going to use our sensors and try to fly through it coding in either Blockly or Python, still utilizing the sensors. And it really gets them engaged. Honestly, when teachers try these drones first, they're a little more excited than the students, and they really like to have it. So if the teachers are excited, I can only imagine seeing how excited their students will be. But it's overall super great fun. Students really learn a lot, especially since the introduction of sensors inside of this drone is present. They get a better understanding and idea of it. And physics does play a really big role in it. So it really teaches them and how to utilize it. The last thing to cover pretty much is there is the aerial drone competition. As mentioned, there is a competition run by the Rec Foundation, almost like Vex Robotics, that allows the students to compete in a manual flight challenge and a coding challenge as well, where they have to work in teams together in order to complete these challenges. And then for the autonomous challenge, they can do it in either Blockly or Python. Blockly is just our version of Scratch coding, and Python is going to be the normal downloadable software that you can utilize. But thank you everyone for your time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And then if there is any more questions, if you could please read it out to me. I'm still struggling to get back, but I would love to hear any questions or if any ideas of if you guys ever used drones before, or if you have had the opportunity to even see our drones or see something like the Tello or DJI, anything like that. Everyone, if you used a drone at all, that's really fun. I think great experiences overall.
So there was a question in the chat about the age level that you think the drones are appropriate for.
Yeah, definitely. So the CoDrone EDU has a bigger controller, slightly bigger. It's going to be pretty much the same width and size of a PlayStation controller, like an Xbox controller, just not as thick. We normally recommend that students who are of the ages of about 12 and older are fit for the CoDrone EDU. For the CoDrone Mini, we recommend about 8 or older. The reason that we say that is because you do need to have proper maintenance and care with these drones. So students are going to learn some engineering, some maintenance. They're going to learn about how to take care of hardware, how to replace hardware, and all of that to ensure the longevity of the drone. But I never say that 12 is the hard limit or 8 is the hard limit. If students are expressing interest and they can express that, or they show that they are really motivated to learn about this drone, they're able to comprehend the concepts and the some of the integration of it, such as how to fly with it manually. If they can do all that, they can do the Blockly encoding. If they can do the Python and it's kind of a breeze and they're under that age limit, by all means, buy the drone. Definitely. That's just the recommended age limit. But if you think that anyone is able to take on those tasks and challenge, and you think it'd be a fun challenge for them, definitely go ahead and do that. All of our stuff too is free and available on our website. Our website here, which is going to be at the bottom, the robolink.com. If you go under the lessons and education, you'll find actually all of our stuff, our lessons for the CoDrone EDU, CoDrone Mini, RoKit. We also have other products there too. And it does teach the students from beginning to end how to code in Blockly or Python from beginner all the way to expert. So go ahead and check that out if you are interested in it. Again, everything is free and already readily available. So it kind of gives you a good basics of I could see a younger student doing it. To be honest, I already have a student, or my nephew actually. They are only 10 and they're using the CoDrone EDU and they're perfectly fine at it. They have the ability to do it. They're able to control it just fine with the controller. So yeah, if you think it's great inside of your classroom or great inside of your students, then definitely it's going to be best for them.
I think there was one other question in the chat that didn't get answered. It's related to the number of drones or number of children per drone. I guess if they're sharing a drone, how many would you recommend?
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So we always recommend 1-to-1, at the most only 2-to-1. And the reason that we do that is because we find that if you go 3-to-1 or even higher than that, you're always going to have a designated pilot, and then you're always going to have a designated coder. And then anyone past that is just gonna be like the designated, like sit there and act like they're doing something. So we don't really want anyone to do that. We don't want anyone to lose out on how to gain the skills in piloting or coding. So by being 1-to-1, you'll get everything. By being 2-to-1, you still will be able to get everything because they might still have a designated pilot, or they might still have a designated coder who prefers it or likes it more. However, by having 2 people, it still pushes them both to learn how to do one and the other, not just kind of stick with one.
Great. Thank you so much. I think that was all the questions from the chat that weren't already answered in the chat.
Okay, great.
From our last 2 presenters on drones and literacy, both amazing sessions. I also put on here for anybody that wants to sign up for an extended MyStemKits trial. I know it was mentioned a lot in Meredith's session. So if that is something you are interested in, definitely go to mystemkits.com and you can use the code ReadySetStem2023 for 3 months and 3 unlocks. All right. We got some great resources shared in Carlene's session. Allison saying, loving the literacy and STEAM, seeing the engineering 3 Little Pigs lesson, but the addition of financial literacy. Fabulous, fabulous. Awesome. Thank you so much. And then for those that have been posting, again, I'm trying to get everybody's posts here. So we've been getting a lot of posts on social media. Don't forget on Instagram and X and Twitter using Ready, Set, MimioStem and tagging us to enter into a, you can be one of 3 winners, or you may be the grand prize winner.